Caitlin Clark just delivered another disaster class. And this time, fans aren't looking the other way. The Fever are sliding in the standings, the numbers are ugly, and the excuses are running out. Is this just a rookie wall, or are we witnessing the unraveling of the most hyped player women's basketball has ever seen? From missed shots to media backlash to her team visibly collapsing around her, this isn't the Cinderella story ESPN sold you. The question now isn't can she bounce back. It's whether the WNBA will break her before she ever gets the chance. Buckle up, because the truth hurts.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's wrong with Caitlin Clark, but like, I don't even know if she should be in, like, it's at the stage where I don't know if she should be an all-star. It wasn't even a boring game from the Fever. Caitlin just sucked. We can be honest, she was just terrible. The game management was horrific down the stretch. Stephanie White decided that she wanted to wanted to take Caitlin Clark off for defense, and then they scored on every single possession that Caitlin Clark was off on defense. And if for some reason they're up 8 points with 16 seconds to go and she's put in the game and rolls her ankle. Not ideal. For the Seattle Storm, they were terrible outside of Erica Wheeler. Gabby Williams started off well. Neka started off well. Ezzy Magbagor hit a 3, I guess. But, Diggins played really well. It was just Diggins and Wheeler. Like, ironically enough, I said before the game, my bold prediction, you can watch the start of this stream. My bold prediction is that Erica Wheeler is going to outplay Caitlin Clark.
This isn't your typical sports critique. This is a full-blown pivot in the national conversation. Just weeks ago, Caitlin Clark was being heralded as the future of the league, the chosen one. But now, the same commentators that celebrated her ascension are openly asking whether she even deserves to be an all-star. This clip isn't just spicy for the sake of views. It captures a larger sentiment shift that's been building under the surface. The grace period is over. Clark has hit a rookie wall, yes, but the bigger story is the expectations. Most rookies can drop a few games without national blowback. But when you're Caitlin Clark, every off night becomes a headline. Every turnover is a debate. And the numbers lately haven't helped her case. She's struggling from deep. She's forcing passes into traffic. And the turnovers are climbing. But this goes beyond box scores. This is about perception. Clark is now caught between being the league's biggest draw and its most scrutinized player. The All-Star votes may still favor her, but the commentary is shifting. Should she even be an All-Star? Is a loaded question. It's not just about her game, it's a challenge to her impact. And that's where this gets dangerous, because once the media decides you're overhyped, they don't just question your place, they root for your fall. This clip signals that Caitlin Clark's media honeymoon is officially over. And now, it's her against the narrative.
The ball goes to Aaliyah. Aaliyah hands it off to Caitlin badly, and Caitlin just trips over her own foot. She trips over her own foot and falls over the ball and spins into the backcourt. Like, that summed up the game. That summed up her game. That has summed up her last 3 games.
This one hurts, not because it's harsh, but because it's true. Caitlin Clark, the composed floor general, the sharpshooter with nerves of steel, just tripped over her own feet in the middle of a broken possession. It's the kind of moment you brush off if things are going well. But right now, it feels emblematic. It feels like the moment everything caught up to her, physically, emotionally, and mentally. Clark isn't just falling on the court. She's stumbling through systems that don't suit her, teammates that hesitate, and defenses that no longer treat her as a rookie. They've studied the film. They know her tendencies. And now she's being double-teamed at half-court with no relief. This slip wasn't just a meme, it was a metaphor. She's carrying a team that's not built to run with her. And in the process, she's unraveling under the weight. What's most telling here is the way it was received. No one bailed her out, no teammate rushed over, the play moved on, and Clark just got up. That isolation mirrors her reality right now. When people say rookie wall, they usually mean fatigue. But for Clark, it's disconnection. She's not in rhythm with the offense. Her creativity is being stifled. And moments like this, where the game breaks down and she's left exposed, they're starting to stack up. She didn't just fall, she fell alone. And that's what should worry Indiana fans most.
At least Caitlin did a really good job of feeding Aaliyah. That is one big thing. At least Caitlin did a really, really good job of feeding Aaliyah Boston. Caitlin did a great job of feeding her. Kelsey Mitchell, I thought at her one of her better games. I thought she was taking good shots. Everything was on one dribble or attacking in. She only took one dribble, step back, long two. She only took one of those. She didn't make it, but she shot the three ball. Like,
there's poor performance, and then there's historic collapse. And this stat, this is the kind that follows a player for years. 3 points, 0 3-pointers, more turnovers than buckets. It's the kind of box score you expect from a bench player, not a generational number 1 pick. And the worst part, it's not the first time. This clip references her last similar game, just weeks ago. So the narrative forming isn't Caitlin Clark had a bad night. It's Caitlin Clark is showing patterns. And for elite players, that's where the danger lies. When your lows start to repeat, they stop being outliers. They start being data points. Add to that the fact that Clark is being defended harder than any other rookie in WNBA history, and the excuses start running thin. Fans aren't just disappointed, they're shocked. Because for someone who regularly dropped 30 in college, Clark now looks like a shell of that player. And if she's not hitting threes, her offensive value plummets. She's not a bruising slasher. She's not a post-up threat. Her game depends on fear, on gravity. And when the jumper's off, defenders stop chasing. This stat line doesn't just show a slump, it shows vulnerability. And the moment the league realizes Clark can be shut down, her mystique starts to crumble. What we're seeing isn't just struggle, it's exposure. And if Indiana doesn't adapt fast, this disaster class might just become the norm.
so today, lads, we're at week 5 of the power rankings, and we can see what they have done, what the WNBA has done with their power rankings. So I am hoping in general that we see what would be my power rankings right now. It would be, ironically, considering
there was a time, just a month ago, when analysts were whispering about Indiana being a top 4 team. Now, they're clinging to 8th. And it's not just the number that stings, it's the trajectory. While other teams climb, the Fever are sliding fast. This clip lays it out clearly. Indiana has dropped into the bottom half of the league. Caitlin Clark's arrival was supposed to spark a turnaround, but instead, the team is spinning its wheels. What's interesting is the tone. There's no malice, just cold evaluation. Clark may be the headline, but these rankings reflect a systemic issue. Indiana is not winning, and in the WNBA, that matters more than Instagram highlights or jersey sales. Let's be clear, 8th isn't catastrophic, but it's telling, because the top teams, Liberty, Sun, Lynx, all have something the Fever lack: identity. Clark's presence was supposed to give Indiana one. Instead, they've become the league's greatest paradox. They lead in ticket sales, jersey sales, and media buzz, but not in games won. Power rankings aren't gospel, but they shape perception, and perception becomes pressure, especially when you're the most famous rookie in league history. Being ranked 8th says one thing loud and clear: this isn't working, not yet. And if that ranking drops any further, the conversation will shift from what's wrong with Caitlin Clark to is Indiana the wrong team for her?
the Fever weren't able to keep things rolling when they hit the road. The loss to Golden State in Vegas. The loss to Golden State was a bad one. And the 2 double-digit losses in a row were bad ones. Like, they had a 13-point lead against Golden State and blew it. That was a bad loss.
A 13-point lead should be a cushion. For Indiana, it was a countdown to collapse. This clip captures something deeper than just a loss. It captures a psychological unraveling. The Fever had the game in control. They were rolling. Clark wasn't lighting it up, but the team was doing enough to win. And then, the wheels fell off. What makes this worse is the context. Golden State is a beatable team, a must-win if you're trying to climb the rankings, and the Fever handed it away like it didn't matter. Clark didn't have a meltdown stat-wise, but when the game was in flux, she couldn't take over. That's what people expect from a star. That's what she did in college, and that's what's missing now. Losing a game like this isn't just about the scoreboard, it's about trust. Fans start to doubt, teammates start to question, And Clark, already under the brightest spotlight in sports, starts to carry the weight of every blown lead like it's personal. This wasn't a blowout. This was a choke. And chokes stick. A good team finds a way to close. A bad team finds a way to collapse. Indiana is learning the hard way that hype doesn't help in the fourth quarter. And Clark? She's learning that being the face of the franchise means owning every failure. Even when it's not all her fault, it all comes back to her. That's the price of superstardom.
They beat the Fever. So, yeah, they're going to have to beat her. I don't think the Aces are very good. I give the Aces less of a chance of winning a ring than the Fever. But at the same time, I don't give either of them a chance. I'm not even going to call it mid-off. Neither of these teams are mid. Golden State at 7-6. They're missing half their team.
This is the most humiliating part of the Clark era so far. Getting outplayed by teams that aren't even at full strength. The Aces beat the Fever. Golden State, with 4 players injured, beat the Fever. And they didn't just squeak by. They exposed Indiana's weaknesses. What's most painful is how it makes the Fever look unprepared. It's one thing to lose to a healthy contender. It's another to fall apart against depleted rosters. Clark can't control who suits up for the other team. But what she can control is her composure, her leadership, and her urgency. And right now, all of that feels off. The pace is sluggish, the spacing is bad, and when defenses crowd her, she's forcing it instead of adapting. This clip shows that Indiana can't even capitalize when the deck is stacked in their favor, and that says more about coaching than Caitlin, but it still reflects on her. Because when you're the face of the league, the standard is different. Losing to shorthanded teams? That's how narratives form. That's how overrated arguments build traction. It's not fair, but it's real. And unless something changes soon, Clark's rookie year may go down as the most statistically watched disappointment in WNBA history. She still has time, but it's ticking fast.
She played defense and her body language was good, according to the commentators. But yeah, honestly, a great win. A win against a Storm team who've been good, who were on a 3-game winning streak. They're back to 500 on the season. They're playing a terrible Sparks team in LA in a few days. They're at home again against a terrible Sparks team. And
this clip hits hard because it perfectly summarizes the nightmare scenario Caitlin Clark is living through. The shot isn't falling, the turnovers are up, and her defense is still being hunted. That's the triple threat you never want attached to your name. And right now, it's happening weekly. Let's break it down. First, shooting. Clark lives and dies by the jumper. It's her weapon, her identity, her brand. And when it's off, she can't just muscle her way to the rim like a power forward. She becomes predictable, and worse, inefficient. Then turnovers. Clark has always been a risk taker, but in college, those risks led to highlights. In the WNBA, they're leading to breakaway buckets for the opposition. You can see her hesitation in real time, caught between instinct and overcorrection. And finally, defense. It was never her strength, and now it's being magnified nightly. Teams are hunting her. Screens are set to get her switched. And unless she starts using positioning and anticipation better, it's going to keep happening. This clip doesn't come from a hater. It comes from someone speaking hard truths. The kind fans don't want to hear, but Clark needs to. Because the question is fair. When you're struggling on all 3 fronts, what are you contributing? Right now, it's clear. Clark needs support from her coach, her teammates, and maybe even her front office. Because carrying the league is one thing, but carrying a team with no system built around you, that's how superstars get broken early.
Saw any of that? Stop lying. So, Connecticut Sun 13. Fair enough. They suck. They suck. 6-game. They somehow beat the dream because Marina Mabry just went nuclear. Marina Mabry's also injured now. Marina Mabry is also now injured, so the Sun are going to be even worse. The Chicago Sky should be happy because even though they might give the Lynx a #1 pick,
there's a quiet war going on in the WNBA right now. Not between teams, but between perception and performance. Caitlin Clark is the face of the league, the media's darling, and the most talked about athlete in the sport. But this clip challenges that image with a simple premise. If you strip away the media frenzy, she's not even a top guard right now. And that's a hard pill for fans, and maybe even Clark, to swallow. Because the league isn't short on talent. Guards like Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, and Sabrina Ionescu are putting up efficient numbers, winning games, and playing within systems that work. Clark, on the other hand, is doing it all under a microscope. but not with results. This isn't about slander, it's about standards. Every game she plays is a primetime event. Every loss becomes a headline. And yet, in terms of output, shooting percentage, assist-to-turnover ratio, win shares, Clark is getting outplayed. And fans are noticing. Some are defending her, others are questioning the hype. But the truth is probably somewhere in between. Clark isn't bad. She's overwhelmed. She's adjusting. She's learning. But the WNBA isn't waiting. This clip forces the uncomfortable conversation. If Caitlin Clark wasn't famous, would she even be starting? And if that question keeps getting asked, the league might need to confront how much pressure they've put on one player and how much help she truly needs.
If you're wondering why I'm not... 7 turnovers a game isn't normal. I mean, it happens. It happens occasionally. Like, we've seen plenty of NBA players with multiple double-digit turnover games. Courtney Williams had 10 today. It happens. But, yeah. If you're wondering why I'm...
If there's one clip that brings everything together, it's this one. Because while Clark is taking the brunt of the media hits, the truth is, this is an organizational meltdown. What do we mean? Look at the Fever. They drafted a generational shooter and then threw her into a half-court system with no movement. They paired her with another #1 pick, Boston, and built zero chemistry between them. They have shooters who don't shoot and defenders who can't rotate. It's not a Caitlin Clark problem, it's a structural problem. Coaching decisions are baffling. Substitution patterns are erratic. And in clutch moments, the team looks more afraid of making mistakes than they are hungry to win. That's not a Clark issue. That's a culture issue. And here's the twist. The longer this continues, the more blame will fall on her, not the system. Because fans don't see rotations, they see results. And if your superstar keeps losing, she becomes the scapegoat. This clip is the most honest take so far. It stops pointing fingers at Clark and points them where they belong. At a franchise that begged for relevancy, got it, and had no plan for what to do next. Clark isn't failing, she's being failed. And unless something changes in Indiana's front office or locker room, this disaster class won't be a one-off. It'll be her new normal. What we're witnessing with Caitlin Clark right now isn't just a slump. It's a league-wide reckoning. The WNBA's biggest marketing machine is stalling in real time. On national television, under sold-out arenas, and across every highlight reel that ends in another turnover or missed three. But here's the uncomfortable part. This isn't just about Caitlin. It's about the ecosystem around her. A coaching staff that's out of sync. A roster with no shooting identity. A system that doesn't maximize her gifts. Clark isn't underperforming. She's drowning in a setup that was never ready for her. And the media? They helped build the pedestal she's now being shoved off. Same analysts who praised her vision, her flair, her confidence, now questioning her very presence in the league. But when you're used as the symbol for growth, you also become the scapegoat when growth slows. So here's the real question. How long before this pressure breaks her down, or forces Indiana to finally build her up? Because one thing's for sure, the league needs her. Love her or hate her, Caitlin Clark is the engine of attention, the spike in ratings, the name casual fans actually know. But how long can she carry that weight without help? Drop your take below. Is this just rookie growing pains? Or is Caitlin Clark being set up to fail by her own franchise? Does she need a better coach? A stronger supporting cast? Or is the WNBA learning the hard way that hype alone doesn't win games? Let's hear it in the comments.